All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, if you have watched enough of the Chicago Bears this season, then you really shouldn't be surprised by what you just saw last night in their latest comeback victory over the Green Bay Packers. Clearly, this is something that this team has been doing all season long. During the regular season, Chicago had 7 wins in which they were trailing in the fourth quarter, and now they've crushed the will of the Packers twice this season. Make no mistake about it. These Bears are never out of a game, okay? But some might say when they see that, why not start faster? Well, easier said than done sometimes. And then I'm sure that some people are like, well, you know what? Why are you going to keep, or are you going to keep rolling the dice like this? I mean, that could be fair, okay? But if you've watched the Bears play this season, you know, they're never out of a game. And it starts with their first year head coach, Ben Johnson, because it's been a complete turnaround for the Bears this season in comparison to last year. I talked about 7 wins when they were trailing in the fourth quarter. Last season, the Bears lost 7 games by 6 points or less. Okay. And whereas they always found a way to lose last year, they're finding ways to win those games this season. Everybody has very quickly bought into what Ben Johnson is selling for this team, and they truly believe in their young quarterback, Caleb Williams. We knew that Caleb Williams had the potential when the Bears made him the first overall pick in 2024 out of USC. But it still comes down to the right people and the right coaches to bring out the best in a player. And I think we're seeing that this year with what Ben Johnson has been doing, not just for Caleb Williams, but for this entire Chicago Bears team. Make no mistake about it, Caleb Williams this season, and of course it was on display again last night. He has shown that flair for the dramatic, but he's always really had it. Okay, and he's really showing it in a big way this season for the Bears. Once again, and it's happened so often where we have seen this Bears team this season look like they were dead in the water. Once again, the case last night. They were down 21-3. It looked like it was 24-3 after Brandon McManus kicked the field goal. And then, unbeknownst to us, Ben Johnson had called the timeout to ice him. And then, of course, McManus's second attempt was no good. And then from there, little did we know that Uncle Mo was about to shift in favor of the Bears. They came out with a different mindset in each phase of the game last night in the second half because, again, Chicago looked dead in the water. They couldn't move the football. They couldn't stop Green Bay. And the Packers were basically just doing everything and anything that they wanted to them. It's one of those, again, like I said, this flair for the dramatic by Caleb Williams. It's just one of those. He just knows how to lock in the second half of the game. And it's not just him. It's like this Bears team knows how to go out there and make those key plays. Remember, Chicago was -2 in the turnover category last night. But then in that second half, Green Bay really struggled to get them off of the field on third and fourth down situations. Sometimes it was third and long. Sometimes it was fourth and long. But the bottom line is they consistently go out there and make those plays and get it done. Now, don't get me wrong, because I'm not going to sit up here and act like it wasn't a complete and utter meltdown for the Bear. I mean, excuse me, for the Packers last night, because it was. But as far as the comebacks go, if one is an accident and two is a trend, what are we going to call it at this point? From what we have seen for the Bears, it's a never say die attitude. Their ability to make adjustments throughout the games, and it starts with their coach. And it's one of those where if you're going to beat this team, you literally going to have to play to the whistle, and it's going to take 60 minutes for you to go out there and do it. So we've just seen the Bears pick up their first playoff win in 15 years. And of course, it's also the first playoff win in the Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams era. And you ask yourself this season, well, you know what? How far can this team go? I'll tell you like this: we know that they are set to get another home playoff game next weekend. It all depends on the outcome of the game that's going on right now between the Niners and the Eagles. If the Eagles win, then it's going to be Philadelphia traveling to Soldier Field. And of course, if the Niners win, it's going to be the Los Angeles Rams making their way to Soldier Field. So it's one of those where, of course, if it's the Eagles, the Eagles and Bears met earlier this season. And again, the fourth quarter, it was one of those games where the fourth quarter simply belonged to Chicago. And it's one of those where getting back to that and getting back to the mentality shift for these Bears, they simply know how to impose their will. And I think, again, that comes down to coaching. Make no mistake about it. So I'm looking at this Bears team. I'm definitely not going to write them off. Very good team, very well coached. They have a lot of talent on this team, and it's meshing at the right time. Let's just see if they're able to keep this thing going. But again, it's one of those where even as bad as the Bears played last night, um, and as frustrated as some of their fans were who were in attendance at Soldier Field, I still think deep down inside they felt like, you know what, we're going to try to come back and win this thing. And if you looked at it in that second half, little by little, they started chipping away, and all of the things that needed to go right for the Bears in the second half did. The missed field goals by Green Bay, the missed extra point, getting the 2-point conversion, you name it. The bottom line is they just simply knew how to go out there and make the key plays. And again, like I said, they've been doing it for so long this season. So it's one of those where this team that has been downtrodden for so many years. They're finding a way to put it together, and they're putting it together at the right time. And again, it's one of those where when you have a team who has a never say die attitude like the Bears do, then the bottom line is they're never out of a game. They showed it again last night. Soldier Field was buzzing last night, and I think it's going to be buzzing again next weekend, depending on regardless of whoever the Bears host. But nonetheless, this team is never out of a game. What can you say about the Chicago Bears team? What can you say about the difference that has been made in year number one under head coach Ben Johnson? And like I said before, if you're going to knock off the Bears, you're going to have to take the entire 60 minutes to do it. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, you can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. And that also goes for Instagram. And you can check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. Also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.